The warning signs. Jack had always known that working for an alien boss would be challenging, but nothing could have prepared him for this. Commander Zelia was tough, sharp, and terrifying. She was from the Xyrothan species, known for their intelligence and strength. Her skin had a faint silver glow, her eyes burned with golden light, and her voice was sharp like a blade. She never smiled, never laughed, and she definitely never acted strange. But now, something was very, very wrong. Strange behavior. Jack first noticed it on Monday. The office was quiet, as usual. People worked at their desks, typing reports and managing files. Then Zelia walked in. Normally, when she entered, everyone sat up straight, afraid of making a mistake. But this time, she was different. She was sniffing the air. Jack frowned. Did she just smell something? She walked slowly, her head tilting from side to side, her nostrils flaring. It was almost animal-like, as if she was tracking prey. She passed by Jack's desk, then stopped. Jack froze. Zelia turned her head and stared at him for 3 whole seconds. Her golden eyes glowed slightly. Jack gulped. Good morning, Commander." She didn't respond. She narrowed her eyes, took another deep breath, then walked away without a word. Jack slowly exhaled. What the hell was that? Tension in the office. By Wednesday, the entire office felt the tension. Zelia's mood swings were getting worse. She was restless, pacing back and forth in her office. She stared at people for too long without blinking. Her voice had become deeper and sharper. And most terrifying of all, she smiled once. A cold, slow smile. That was when people started leaving early. One coworker, Davis, fled the building after she suddenly appeared behind him and whispered, "You smell different today." Another worker, Leela, took an emergency vacation after Zelia stood next to her and growled softly. Jack had never seen aliens or humans act this scared before. Something was seriously wrong with her. The warning. That evening, Jack was finishing his reports when Milo, an alien coworker, rushed to his desk. Milo was from the Tiveran species, a small, nervous-looking creature with 4 eyes and a long tail. He was usually quiet, but tonight he looked panicked. "Jack," Milo whispered, "you have to leave. Now." Jack frowned. "What? Why?" Milo kept looking over his shoulder, checking if anyone was listening. "It's Zelia," he said. "She's entering her mating period." Jack blinked. "Her what?" Milo grabbed his shoulders. "Listen to me, human. Every Xyrothan female experiences a period where they must choose a mate. Their instincts take over, and they become aggressive." Jack's stomach dropped. "Aggressive?" Milo nodded frantically. "She's tracking a target. She's focusing on one person. That's why she's acting like this." Jack's throat went dry. Who's the target?" Milo hesitated. His 4 eyes blinked at different times. Then he whispered, "You." Jack's heart stopped. Milo grabbed his wrist. "You have to run, before it's too late." The realization. Jack sat back in his chair, his brain racing. This has to be a joke, right? But then, he started remembering all the weird things Zelia had done this week. The sniffing, the long stares, the way she stopped at his desk, the weird, slow smile. Jack felt sweat forming on his forehead. "Oh, crap." Milo leaned closer. "If she chooses you, Jack, you're done for. No one rejects a Xyrothan female during this time. It's dangerous." Jack swallowed hard. "So, what do I do?" Milo glanced around nervously. "There's only one option. You have to avoid her at all costs. Hide, disappear, take a vacation. Because if she decides you're her mate," he shuddered, "you won't have a choice." Jack stared at the floor, his heartbeat pounding in his ears. This wasn't just an office problem anymore. This was a survival mission. And the hunter was his own boss. Final scene. The nightmare begins. Jack stood up. Okay, I'll call in sick tomorrow. Stay away from her. Just disappear for a while. Milo nodded quickly. Yes, that's the best idea. But before Jack could take a step, a shadow fell over his desk. A deep, smooth voice echoed behind him. Jack. His blood turned to ice. Slowly, he turned around. Commander Zelia stood right behind him. Her golden eyes locked onto his. She tilted her head slightly and smirked. Going somewhere. The chaos begins. Jack felt his throat go dry as Commander Zelia stood behind him. Her golden eyes glowed softly under the dim office lights. She was watching him, too closely. A slow, unsettling smirk formed on her lips. Jack tried to act normal. He turned slightly in his chair and forced a casual smile. Commander. Didn't see you there. She didn't blink. The chase intensifies. Jack's brain was breaking. He had barely escaped his alien boss. He had jumped off a building, crashed into a hover car, sprinted through the city. And now, she was still here. Not chasing anymore. Just standing there. Watching. Smirking. Her golden eyes locked onto him like a predator that had already won. Then she had said the worst possible thing. That is why I chose you. Jack swallowed hard. Me? Are you sure? I feel like maybe there's been some kind of. Zelia tilted her head, the smirk never leaving her lips. You are different. Jack's heart pounded. Yeah, I get that a lot. You are afraid, yet you fight. Jack blinked. That's called survival. You run, but you also face me. I ran because you jumped out of a 7-story window like it was nothing. Zelia chuckled. You did not surrender. Jack rubbed his temples. Oh my God. Is this some kind of alien warrior logic? Zelia grinned. Jack exhaled sharply. Okay, listen. I get it. You're in your, mating period. And you need to pick someone. Zelia nodded. Yes. Jack pointed at himself. But why me? There are so many aliens here. Strong ones. Smart ones. Look at Milo. He's a great guy. Why not him? Milo, who had been hiding behind a dumpster, peeked out. Hey, leave me out of this. Zelia laughed. Jack sighed. Look, I'm just a normal human guy. I'm not a fighter. I'm not special. Zelia stepped forward. Jack stepped back. Zelia's golden eyes flashed with amusement. That is why. Jack frowned. What? Zelia leaned in slightly. You are not like the others. You do not try to impress me. You do not try to prove your strength. Jack raised a hand. That's because I don't have any. Zelia's smirk widened. Yet you escaped me. Twice. Jack froze. She had a point. A terrifying, horrible point. Jack felt his stomach drop. Oh, crap. The ultimate escape plan. Jack needed a plan. A real plan. Hiding wasn't working. Running wasn't working. So, what if he changed the game? Jack took a deep breath. Then he did the most dangerous thing yet. He stepped closer to Zelia. She raised an eyebrow. Jack looked her straight in the eyes. Okay, he said. You win. Zelia's eyes narrowed slightly. What? Jack forced a grin. You got me. I'm your mate. Congrats. Milo, still behind the dumpster, gasped loudly. Zelia stared at Jack, her golden gaze unreadable. Then she tilted her head. You are lying. Jack kept smiling. Am I? Zelia's expression shifted slightly. For the first time, she looked uncertain. Jack pushed forward. You said I don't surrender, Jack continued. But what if I do? Zelia was watching him closely now. Jack kept his tone casual. If I'm really your mate then, I should move in, right? Learn the customs. Become a proper Kairathan husband. Zelia narrowed her eyes. Jack leaned in slightly. I'll do all the mate stuff. Every single one. Milo whispered from behind the dumpster. Jack, what are you doing? Jack ignored him. He smiled wider. In fact, let's start now. Let's go meet your entire family. Zelia blinked. For the first time ever, she looked hesitant. Jack pressed harder. Yeah, I'll meet your parents, your clan elders. I'll learn Xyrathan marriage customs. Jack crossed his arms. Unless, of course, you're not serious. Zelia's jaw clenched slightly. Jack's heart raced. Did he just find her weakness? Then, Zelia sighed. You are clever. Jack tried not to look shocked. Bah, thanks. Zelia studied him. Then, slowly, her smirk returned. You wish to meet my family? Jack gulped. I accept. Jack's stomach dropped. Wait, what? Zelia turned away. Come, mate, the elders will be pleased. Jack panicked. No, wait, I was bluffin. Milo's betrayal. Jack grabbed Milo's arm as Zelia started walking away. Help me, Jack whispered furiously. Milo snorted. Dude, you did this to yourself. Jack glared. Come on, man. You're my only friend here. Milo sighed. Okay. There's one way out. Jack perked up. Yes. What is it? Milo took a deep breath. You have to challenge her. Jack froze. Come again. Milo looked dead serious. In Xyrathan culture, if a mate doesn't accept, they can challenge the dominant partner in the ritual of trials. Jack frowned. And if I win? Milo scratched his head. Then she has to let you go. Jack sighed in relief. Oh, thank God. Milo coughed. But if you lose, you officially belong to her. Forever. Jack's soul left his body. He turned and stared at Zelia, who was waiting patiently with her arms crossed. She's gonna kill me, isn't she? Milo nodded very seriously. Jack groaned. Fine. I'll do it. Milo's eyes widened. Wait, seriously. Jack cracked his knuckles. It's time to play dirty. A shadow moved above him. Jack looked up. Zelia was leaping through the air, closing in fast. Jack dodged left. She landed right where he had been. The ground cracked beneath her. Jack sprinted into the maze of rock formations, panting. Milo's voice echoed in his ear. Dude, you have to outsmart her. Jack thought fast. He grabbed a random Xyrathan battle flag, wrapped himself in it, and hid under a rock ledge. He held his breath. Silence. Then, Zelia walked right past him. Jack's heart pounded. Then she stopped. Slowly, she turned her head. Jack's blood ran cold. Then she grinned and whispered, Found you. Jack's soul left his body. The final trial. Jack's soul had officially left his body. He had one goal, to survive. Instead, he was trapped in an alien hunting arena, being chased by his unstoppable warrior boss, Commander Zelia, who was 1 second away from catching him. And the worst part? She was enjoying this. Jack pressed himself against the rock, barely breathing. But Zelia had already found him. She was standing over him, golden eyes glowing, her expression deadly amused. Jack knew what came next. He had 2 options. Option 1, try to run. Again, which would fail. Option 2, accept his fate, which he absolutely did not want to do. Jack's heart pounded. He was out of tricks. Then, Zelia moved. In a flash, she pounced. Jack had 1 second to react. So he did the dumbest thing possible. He lunged forward and hugged her. A bold move. The entire arena went silent. Even Zelia seemed momentarily confused. Jack was holding onto her like a human shield, refusing to let go. Milo, watching from the sidelines, yelled, What are you doing? Jack tightened his grip. Time out. IKLA time out. The Exiruthan crowd gasped. Zelia laughed. It was a deep, rich laugh, low and amused. Jack shuddered. Oh God, that's not a good laugh. Zelia pulled back slightly, just enough to look him in the eyes. You truly are unusual. Jack blinked. Oh, thanks. Zelia's grin widened. Then she flipped him. Jack suddenly found himself flat on his back, pinned beneath one very strong alien woman. The crowd erupted in cheers. Jack groaned. I have made so many bad life choices. The final choice. The elders stepped forward, their expressions serious. The hunt is over, one of them announced. The arena fell silent. The elder turned to Jack. The final decision is yours. Jack's stomach dropped. Milo whispered furiously from the sidelines. This is your chance. Say no. You can leave. Jack hesitated. He looked at Zelia. She was watching him carefully. No more smirks. No more games. Just waiting. Jack swallowed hard. He thought about everything that had happened. About how he had spent days running, hiding, panicking. About how Zelia never actually hurt him. About how, despite everything, he had somehow survived. And about how he kind of liked the chase. Jack took a deep breath. Then he made his choice. The answer. Jack stood up slowly, brushing the dust off. He turned to the elder. Then he looked at Zelia. Her golden eyes studied him carefully, her expression calm. Jack exhaled. Then, finally, he said, Screw it. The crowd gasped. Milo choked. Wait, watch it. Zelia's smirk returned. Jack crossed his arms. I'm in. Whatever this means, I'm in. The arena exploded into cheers. Zelia took a slow step forward. You accept. Jack sighed. Yeah. You win, okay. I officially give up. Zelia grinned. She extended a hand. Jack hesitated. Then, slowly, he took it. The aftermath. The trial ended with a feast. Jack was sitting at a giant table, surrounded by warriors, eating weird glowing food, and trying to process his life decisions. Milo sat next to him, staring in horror. I can't believe this. Jack sighed. Neither can I. Zelia leaned back in her seat, looking completely satisfied. She took a sip of some glowing alien drink, then looked at Jack. You made the right choice, mate. Jack groaned. I feel like I just signed up for something I don't fully understand. Zelia chuckled. You did. Jack blinked. Wait. What yet? Zelia just smirked. Jack turned to Milo. Bro, help me. Milo just patted his shoulder. You're on your own now, buddy. Jack groaned again. Zelia's golden eyes glowed softly. Welcome to the family, Jack. Jack sighed. I am so doomed. The escape plan. Jack was not okay. In fact, he was losing his mind. Just 2 days ago, life was normal. He was just another human worker in an alien office, doing his best to survive the endless reports and meetings. Now, his terrifyingly powerful alien boss was tracking him like prey and had declared him her chosen mate. And the worst part, no one was helping him. I need a plan. Now. Jack sat across from Milo, his only alien friend, in a small supply closet, because that was the only safe place left in the office. Milo was pacing, his 4 eyes blinking at different times, deep in thought. Jack ran a hand through his hair. Milo, you're an alien. You know about this kind of stuff. How do I get out of this? Milo took a deep breath. Okay. I have good news and bad news. Jack groaned. Just give me the bad news first. Milo winced. The bad news is, you're already marked. Jack blinked. Marked. Milo nodded. Yeah. The moment she gave you that courting gift, she basically claimed you in front of everyone. Jack's stomach dropped. Milo continued, "You refusing it? That only made things worse." Jack grabbed his own head. "What? Why?" Milo sighed. "Because in Xirothan culture, if a chosen mate rejects a courting gift, the female sees it as a challenge." Jack's eyes widened. "A challenge?" Milo nodded. "Yes. Now, instead of seeing you as just a mate, she sees you as prey." Jack felt his soul leave his body. "What's the good news?" Jack grabbed Milo's shoulders. "Okay, I need good news. Right now." Milo hesitated. Then, carefully, he said, "The good news is, you can still escape, if you hide long enough." Jack's eye twitched. "That's it. That's the plan. Just hide." Milo threw his hands up. "It's your only option. If she doesn't see you for a few days, her instincts will calm down, and she'll choose someone else." Jack narrowed his eyes. "Are you sure about that?" Milo gulped. "Okay, maybe like 80% sure." Jack groaned. The great office escape. Jack knew one thing for sure. He was not going to stick around and find out what happened if he lost this challenge. So, he made a plan. He was going to disappear. Step 1. Avoid Zelia at all costs. Step 2. Hide in the office until the workday ends. Step 3. Get out of the building without being seen. Step 4. Stay hidden for 3 days. It was foolproof. Probably. The hunt begins. Jack peeked out of the supply closet. The office looked normal. Aliens and humans working at their desks, typing away, talking in low voices. But he knew better. Somewhere out there, Zelia was looking for him. Jack took a deep breath. It was now or never. He quietly slipped out of the supply closet and crept toward the stairwell. Step 1. Avoid Zelia. So far, so good. Then, just as he reached the door, Jack froze. His blood turned to ice. He turned his head slowly. Zelia stood on the other side of the office, watching him with intense golden eyes. Her expression, pure amusement. Jack's instincts screamed, "Rumen." The chase. Jack bolted. He threw open the stairwell door and sprinted down the steps, taking them 3 at a time. Behind him, he heard metal footsteps. Zelia was following him. Fast. Too fast. Jack barely reached the bottom floor before she caught up. She cut him off, standing in front of the exit, arms crossed, grinning. Jack skidded to a stop. His brain raced. Okay, think. You need a distraction. Then, he saw it. A janitor's cart. Jack grabbed the mop, spun around, and flung a bucket of soapy water at Zelia. For the first time ever, Zelia looked genuinely surprised. She stumbled slightly, blinking. Jack took the chance and ran. The emergency backup plan. Jack rushed outside and made a beeline for the transport hub. He found the nearest shuttle, threw a handful of credits at the pilot, and jumped inside. "Go! Go now!" Jack yelled. The shuttle took off just as Zelia appeared at the entrance. She stared up at him, her golden eyes glowing, her expression unreadable. Then she grinned and winked. Jack shuddered. Safe, for now. The shuttle landed on a different part of the planet, far away from the office. Jack checked into a hotel, locked the door, and collapsed onto the bed. He exhaled deeply. I did it. He survived. Now he just had to stay hidden for 3 days, and this nightmare would be over. Or so he thought, because the next morning, there was a knock at the door. Jack's heart stopped. Slowly, he stood up, tiptoed to the door, and peeked through the security camera. And there she was, Commander Zelia, standing outside his door. She looked completely calm. Then she spoke, her voice smooth and teasing. Jack, you didn't think I'd let you run away that easily, did you? The ritual of trials. Jack immediately regretted everything. He had tried to escape. He had tried to bluff. He had tried to negotiate. Nothing worked. Now, thanks to Milo's brilliant idea, Jack was officially locked into an ancient alien trial where he had to challenge Commander Zelia, a 7-foot-tall warrior-class Sci-Fi, to win his freedom. If he won, he was free. If he lost, he belonged to her forever. And judging by the excited glint in Zelia's golden eyes, he was screwed. The arena. The next morning, Jack woke up in a place that definitely wasn't his hotel room. It was a massive underground arena, glowing with blue bioluminescent crystals and alien torches. Sci-Fi surrounded the area, chanting in their deep, rumbling voices. Jack sat up groggily. Where the hell am I? Milo peeked over a rock. The trial pit. Jack blinked. The what? Milo sighed. Every Sci-Fi clan has a trial pit. It's where warriors prove dominance over their chosen mate. Jack's stomach dropped. Wait, you didn't tell me this was a public event. Milo scratched his head. Yeah, it might be broadcasted across the entire sector. Jack's soul left his body. I am an ONLIV TV. Milo nodded. Yep, there's like 30 different alien species watching this. No pressure. Jack groaned loudly. Then, a deep, thunderous voice echoed through the arena. Begin, they JALENG. Jack turned. Zelia stood on the other side of the pit. She wasn't in her normal uniform. She was wearing full Sci-Fi battle armor, sleek and reinforced, glowing with pulsating silver energy. She looked like an unstoppable gladiator. Jack was wearing a t-shirt and cargo pants. He was so dead. The 3 trials. Milo rushed up beside Jack. Okay, you need to know the rules. Jack took a deep breath. Hit me. Milo pointed at a glowing alien manor. There are 3 trials. If you win at least one, you can go free. If you lose all 3, Jack groaned. I get married. Milo nodded. Forever. Jack muttered. I hate everything. Milo ignored him. Trial 1 is the test of strength. Jack stared blankly. I'm dead. Trial 2 is the test of cunning. Jack frowned. Wait, I might have a chance at that one. Trial 3 is the final hunt. Jack blinked. What's that? Milo coughed. She hunts you in front of everyone. Jack's soul died. Trial 1. The test of strength. 8 Sci-Fi elder stepped forward, raising a massive stone slab above his head. Begin. A huge boulder-like object was dropped between Jack and Zelia. Zelia smirked. You must lift the stone of warriors, human. Jack stared at the giant alien rock. It was bigger than a car. Jack turned to Milo. Are you kidding, Emmy? Milo whispered. Okay, just pretend to try. No one expects you to win this one. Jack sighed. Then Zelia stepped forward. With one hand, she lifted the stone over her head like it weighed nothing. The crowd roared in approval. Jack blinked. Oh, come on. Zelia grinned at him. Your turn, mate. Jack stepped forward, took a deep breath, and pretended to struggle heroically. He grabbed the rock, groaned dramatically, and made very intense noises. Did he lift it? Absolutely not. The elder banged his staff. The male fails. The female is victorious. The crowd cheered. Jack wiped his forehead. Well, that was humiliating. Milo patted his back. Yeah, but at least you didn't break your spine. Jack sighed. Okay, what's next? Milo smirked. The test of cunning. Trial 2. The test of cunning. Jack perked up. This was his chance. A Sci-Fi elder placed a glowing orb in the center of the pit. The one who solves the orb of truth shall be victorious. Jack narrowed his eyes. Puffed. It's probably a riddle. Easy. Zelia stepped forward, pressing her hand to the orb. It glowed brightly, and an ancient puzzle appeared. Jack grinned. This is just an alien Rubik's Cube. I can do this. Then, Zelia crushed the orb in her fist. It shattered into dust. The elder blinked. Yes. That also counts. Jack gawked. You can just do gate. Zelia smirked. I solve problems in my own way. The elder nodded. The male fails again. The female wins. The crowd cheered wildly. Jack groaned. I hate my life. Milo patted his shoulder. There's still one trial left. Jack exhaled. What is it? Milo coughed. You have to survive being hunted. Jack's brain stopped working. Excuse me? Trial 3. The final hunt. A horn echoed through the pit. The elder raised his arms. Begin the hunt. Jack turned, just in time to see Zelia remove her battle armor. She stretched, rolling her shoulders, her muscles flexing slightly. Her golden eyes glowed. Then, she dropped into a low stance. Jack's entire body went into panic mode. Milo whispered, You should run. Jack bolted. The crowd roared in excitement. Zelia vanished. Jack ran full speed, heart hammering in his chest. Then, I noticed, she said smoothly. Her voice was different now. Deeper, silkier. It sent a shiver down Jack's spine. He had faced alien warlords, asteroid storms, and malfunctioning AI, but nothing had ever made his survival instincts scream like this. Jack swallowed. Did you need something? Zelia tilted her head slightly, her eyes narrowing. You seem uneasy. Jack forced a laugh. Me? No way. I'm just, thinking about deadlines. Very stressful. She took a slow step forward. Her presence was overwhelming, like standing too close to a wild predator. Then suddenly, she sniffed the air. Jack went stiff. Zelia took another deep breath, then let it out with a satisfied sigh. Interesting, she murmured. Jack had no idea what that meant, but every instinct in his body screamed, Run. I should get back to work, he said quickly, scooting his chair back. Super busy, you know how it is. She didn't move. She just kept watching him. Then, slowly, she grinned. Jack panicked inside. She never grins. She never even smiles. Then she turned and walked away, her silver hair swaying behind her. Jack exhaled sharply as soon as she was gone. He looked at Milo, who was standing completely frozen in fear. The little alien blinked all 4 of his eyes, then whispered, Jack, she has chosen you. A growing nightmare. The next morning, Jack arrived at work with a plan. Step 1. Avoid Zelia at all costs. Step 2. Don't make eye contact. Step 3. Run if necessary. Unfortunately, the universe had other plans. The moment he entered the office, Zelia was already there. Not in her office. Not at her desk. She was standing right in front of the main entrance. Jack stopped mid-step. Zelia's golden eyes locked onto him instantly. A slow smirk tugged at her lips. You're late, Jack, she said, her voice almost playful. Jack stiffened. Oh no, she never talks like this. This is bad. This is so bad. Traffic, Jack lied. Space traffic. Crazy, right? She just kept staring at him. For an uncomfortably long time. Jack had no idea what to do. Then, suddenly, she reached into her jacket and pulled something out. A box. Jack frowned. What's that? Zelia stepped closer and handed it to him. A gift. Jack hesitated. For who? Zelia tilted her head slightly. For you. Jack's stomach dropped. He slowly opened the box. Inside was a small glowing crystal. It pulsed with a soft blue light, humming with strange energy. Jack blinked. What is it? Zelia's smirk widened. A courting gift. Jack almost choked on air. He slammed the box shut and held it out. Thanks. But I can't accept this. HR policy and all that. You know how it is. Zelia didn't take it back. She just kept watching him. Jack swore he saw her eyes dilate slightly. "Keep it," she said, her voice smoother than ever. Then she turned and walked away. Jack stood frozen for a good 10 seconds. Milo, who had been watching the entire thing from behind a potted plant, slowly walked up. "Jack," he whispered, "you're doomed." The office in panic mode. By lunch break, the entire office knew what was happening. Jack's coworkers avoided him like the plague. No one sat next to him. No one spoke to him. Even HR refused to get involved. Jack cornered the HR representative in the break room. "Okay, I have a problem. Zelia is. I'm on vacation," the HR guy yelled, grabbing his bag and running. Jack watched him leave, then groaned. Great, just great. An attempted escape. Jack decided he needed to get out before things got worse. He packed up his things and sent in a fake sick leave request. Then, as he headed toward the exit, a tall shadow fell over him. Leaving so soon? Jack froze. Slowly, he turned around. Zelia stood there, watching him. She took a step closer. "I thought we could talk after work. Alone." Jack's brain short-circuited. Panic mode. Full pain IC mode. Jack took a step back. "I actually have a doctor's appointment." "Yeah, stomach problems. Real bad." Zelia narrowed her eyes slightly. "I see." She tilted her head and stared at him, almost like she was trying to figure something out. Then she smiled. Not a smirk. A real smile. Jack's heart pounded. Zelia never smiled. Then she leaned in closer and whispered, "I'll see you tomorrow, Jack." Jack nodded slowly. Then he turned and walked away as fast as possible. As soon as he was out of sight, he broke into a full sprint. He ran down the hallway, dodging confused coworkers, and burst into Milo's office. "Milo, I need a plan." Milo turned, eyes wide. "You're still alive." Jack grabbed him by the shoulders. "I do for how long?" Milo took a deep breath. Okay. There's only one solution." Jack nodded quickly. "Yeah. What is it?" Milo's voice dropped to a whisper. "You have to hide." Jack groaned. "I'm so dead." The confrontation. Jack stood frozen. His heart pounded in his chest. Commander Zelia was standing outside his hotel room, her arms crossed, her golden eyes locked onto the security camera, as if she knew he was watching. Then she smirked. A slow, confident, knowing smirk. "Jack." Her voice was smooth, teasing, and terrifying all at once. Jack took a slow step back from the door. His brain screamed, how? How did she find Emmy? He had used a fake name. Paid in cash. Picked a random hotel in the middle of nowhere. And yet, she was here. She found him. Jack swallowed hard. This was bad. Very, very bad. Then she knocked again, but this time it wasn't a normal knock. It was 3 slow taps. Almost playful. "Jack," she murmured. "Are you really going to make me wait?" Jack's entire body tensed. He did the only logical thing. He grabbed a chair, shoved it under the doorknob, and ran to the window. A desperate escape. Jack yanked the window open and looked down. He was on the 7th floor. Okay, bad idea. He scanned the area. No fire escape. No ledges. Just a long drop and a bunch of alien hover cars parked below. Jack ran back to the door. Maybe he could talk his way out. Then, bang. Jack jumped. Bang. The door shook. Zelia wasn't knocking anymore. She was pushing against the door. Hard. Jack's survival instincts screamed. He ran back to the window, took a deep breath, and did the dumbest thing he had ever done in his life. He jumped. The fall. For 2 horrifying seconds, Jack was falling through the air. Wind roared in his ears. His brain screamed every curse word he knew. Then, crash. He landed hard on the roof of a hover car. The car's alarm blared, but Jack didn't have time to care. He rolled off, hit the pavement, and stumbled to his feet. Pain shot through his legs, but he ignored it. He needed to run. He needed to get away. Then he looked up, and his blood turned to ice. Zelia was standing in the hotel window, 7 stories up. She tilted her head slightly. Then she jumped. Jack's jaw dropped. No guilty way. Boom. She landed right in front of him, completely unarmed. Jack's breath caught in his throat. Zelia slowly stood up, brushing non-existent dust off her uniform. Then she grinned. Caught you. Jack did the only thing he could do. He ran. The hunter and the prey. Jack sprinted through the streets, dodging aliens, jumping over crates, pushing past confused pedestrians. He didn't look back. He didn't need to. He could feel her chasing him. Footsteps too fast, too smooth. She was gaining. Jack's heart pounded. He turned a corner, only to see a dead-end alley. Oh, come on. He spun around. Zelia was already there. She was barely out of breath. Jack was dying. She slowly stepped forward. Jack backed up until he hit the wall. Nowhere to go. No way out. Zelia placed one hand on the wall beside his head, leaning in slightly. Her golden eyes glowed softly, filled with something unreadable. Then, in the calmest voice, she said, "You are very fast for a human." Jack gulped. Thanks." She smirked, "But not fast enough." Jack exhaled shakily. "Look, Zelia, She suddenly leaned closer. Jack froze. Her face was inches from his. "I will ask one last time." Her voice was low and smooth. "Why are you running?" Jack's brain went into overdrive. "Because you're terrifying. Because I don't want to die. Because I don't want to be an alien's mate." But instead, what came out was, "I don't know." Zelia tilted her head. Something shifted in her expression. Then softly, she said, "Liar." Jack's heart skipped a beat. "The truth comes out." Zelia pulled back slightly, studying him. Then, in a tone that almost sounded amused, she said, "You think I'm going to hurt you?" Jack hesitated. Maybe." Zelia actually laughed. It was low, rich, and way too attractive. Jack's brain short-circuited. Then, to his complete shock, she took a step back. "I see," she murmured. Jack blinked. "Wait. What?" Zelia crossed her arms. "You are a human. You do not understand Cyruthan instincts." "I should have expected this." Jack stared at her. "So, you're not going to kill me?" She rolled her eyes. "Of course not." Jack exhaled sharply. "Oh, thank God." Then she smirked. "But I am still going to claim you." Jack's soul left his body. "What?" "I thought we just had a breakt. OUG. Zelia chuckled. "We did, but the result is the same." Jack groaned. "Zelia, look, I'm just a guy. A normal, average, human guy. You're an unstoppable alien warrior. You don't need me." Zelia smiled slightly. "That is why I chose you." Jack blinked. Then he pointed at himself. "Me." She nodded. Jack stared at her, completely speechless. "Oh, crap."